All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to you, wherever you are in this beautiful world. Welcome to our Inner Circle Live session. I'm your host, Ryan Carthage. You'll be joined shortly by my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Hope everybody's having an awesome day and ready to dive in. So, as always, let's turn off all distractions, grab a pen and paper for notes, and let's make sure that we participate and engage. All right. So, hop over. We'll take a look quickly at the fundamental side. A few things happen overnight, not a ton. And then what I want to do is, if there are any pairs that you guys have on your radar that you want me to take a look at, I want to take a look at those today. So, as we slide over to trading economics, go ahead and drop those pairs in the chat for me, and we will get rocking. All right. Gold. All right. Cool deal. So, top story, China exports plunge, imports fall less than expected. Exports from China sank 7.5% year over year in May. First fall since February, and way more than forecasts of a 0.4% decline. Midweek global demand. Imports went down 4.5%, a much less than forecasted of a 8% plunge. With purchases falling for rubber and integrated circuits, but rising for some commodities such as crude oil and iron. All right. So again, that back and forth that Benny talked about in China. All right. Then we had last night GDP growth for Australia. Economy expanded 0.2% quarter over quarter in Q1, below the market forecast of 0.3%. Increased. 0.3% increase after an upwardly revised 0.6% rise in Q4. This was a sixth consecutive period of economic growth, but the softest pace in the sequence. As household consumption rose, the least in 6 quarters, due to persistent cost pressures and elevated interest rates. Right, the household savings ratio fell 3.7%, the lowest since Q2 of 2008. For the prior 4.5%. Also, government spending growth slowed sharply, 0.1% versus 0.6%, while net trade contribution net trade negatively as exports 1.1% increase, less than the imports of 3.2%. Meanwhile, private investment rose 1.4% versus 0.9%, supported by machinery and equipment, non-dwelling and dwelling, and intellectual property products. So the economy grew, but it grew at an extremely slow pace and slower than expected. So when we look at the charts, there wasn't a large reaction to this number because it was kind of mixed, right? It grew, but not fast or at its slowest pace in a very long time. And then you had UK housing prices fall for the first time since 2012. Part of that is higher interest rates starting to impact the market there. And then European shares lack direction. So things are just moving sideways at the moment. All right. If you look at the market, it's been a lot of what it has been. So we'll go over to the calendar. And not a ton happened overnight. At 10 o'clock, though, we have the Bank of Canada rate statement. All right. A lot of eyes are looking there to see what happens with the Canadian dollar. And that'll give us some insight on those Canadian pairs. All right. And then you have oil inventories. Oil inventories coming in at 10:30. And that's pretty much it for the day. All right. You do have final GDP for the Japanese yen at 750. And then tomorrow you have unemployment claims for the dollar and CPI for the Chinese yuan. And then on Friday, employment change and unemployment rate. All right. So that's pretty much it from a fundamental perspective. Are there any questions there, or did you guys see anything that caught your eye fundamentally that you want to chat about?
I seen on Japan Times that they over there about to start drilling for some oil.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
That should be interesting. See how that impacts how much they are able to identify and how that impacts the market. Did they say what the expectation was?
I was reading it before I came over. I was reading it before I came over, and they just anticipating on drilling and finding their own natural resources. And then I didn't get too far much into it because I didn't want it to influence my decision before session. So I just want, yeah.
I got you. No doubt. Cool. Appreciate that. if you can drop that link in the Discord and we can take a look at it, that'd be great. Benny, good morning, bro.
Ryan, good morning, sir. Good morning, everybody. How you doing this morning, Ryan?
Doing well, my man. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great.
Awesome. Did you see anything fundamentally that caught your eye?
Nope. Just waiting on. We're just waiting on this number to come out for Canada because of where a lot of those CAD crosses are sitting. I did see it. I did see an article on Bloomberg early this morning, saying that the expectation they think they're gonna hike rates in Canada.
Oh, they think they're gonna hike it in Canada? Ooh.
Yeah, they think the BOC is gonna hike rates today.
Okay.
So that's gonna be quite interesting considering where some of those pairs technically are sitting.
That'll definitely be interesting.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, we just saw Australia do it.
Right.
So I'm interested. So I'm kind of just sitting on pause right now.
Yeah.
To see that move, because a lot of times these central banks will fall in line with each other and all start doing the same thing. So
right.
Yeah. So we'll see if that that speculation is correct about today's data. So maybe we see 25 basis points coming out of Canada.
Maybe.
And then, we'll see what the impact is. It's kind of been, sometimes you can see, a good move like you saw with the Aussie pairs, and sometimes you don't, depending on what they say after the fact.
Right.
But these ones are kind of challenging when you don't know. A lot of times you'll know, okay, they're expected to raise 25, 50 basis points, and then it's like, okay, what's the forward guidance going to be? But this one is kind of iffy because you're leading into it, especially after the Reserve Bank of Australia did what they did, not knowing what they're going to do. So kind of have to sit back on your hands and see how it's going to come out. So if they hold, you can see a reaction too, even though that's the at least on Forex Factory, and you got some people saying that, they're going to hold. I think it's kind of starting to shift the other way a little bit. So if they hold, you might see a reaction, strong the other way too. So
that's true.
It's gonna be an interesting one this morning.
It's definitely gonna be interesting, man. Definitely gonna be interesting. We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, because you never know where the market is. You truly know where the market is placing its bets ahead. Right. So,
man, well, we will be sitting on our hands waiting for the 10 o'clock hour.
Absolutely.
Appreciate you, bro.
Yep.
All right, real quick, take a look at the dollar and we're slowly making our way back down to the downside, pulling back. All right, so we'll eye this daily level that we talked about, see if we get a retest of that level, 618 retracement, and then see if it holds and we get a push back to the upside, right? So that means those dollar crosses could be pushing to the upside, right, in favor of the dominant currency there. So that's the DXY. That's what we're looking at. Still moving in that direction. But also, if you look at that, right, it's coming back down. If it holds here, it'd be the bottom of a range, and then we could see a push back to the top, right? So ultimately, sideways at the moment, waiting to see what transpires. Okay, so that's the dollar. Now let's see what you guys got. Let's take a look at gold. Gold versus the dollar. Sideways, 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 sideways. But overall, the move that we anticipated it to make, right? It made, got another push to the upside, and then this move also anticipated. So let's drop back to the daily, see where we are, and clean some of this up. Cloud off. So hovering at this level, this previous daily support got taken out. I'm just going to shift this here. That's a resistance level there. And then you got a support level here. And you're able to see the range that price is sitting in. Boom. Right? That's our range there. We broke trend line, pulled down, hovering right there. Let me double check this fib, make sure that's what I want. Boom. There we go. Right? B boundary at this monthly and weekly resistance level. Strong reaction, pullback. Sitting at a 50% retracement in line with the outer trend line here. All right? And you got a daily support level there. Price is just hovering sideways. All right? So we drop down to the 4. Run that fib off the low again. And then one more time. All right, so on that move down, price took out our A. All right, nice move to the downside, took out our A. So in the scenario, we flip the fib. And this is where we sit. This is where we sit on the 4. Shallow retracement, 118, 127 zone. Got this daily support here, right? We haven't gotten to the D extension. So we'll see what happens hovering at the trend line as well. Right, so you got an 80-20 scenario, but ultimately you want to see a break above the range here, right, in order to get to those higher levels. That level is also previous support, right, in this zone here. So it makes sense for price to kind of stall at that zone, right? Previous support, future resistance. Now it's just a question of what direction do we break out? Right? Do we push to the top side, break out above and continue higher, or do we break down and continue a deeper pullback on that daily fib? All right. So that's what I'm looking at here. And then right now in the short term this week, it's just been sideways, literally just sideways. 1 second. Sorry about that. But literally just pressing sideways right now, waiting on a catalyst to push in one direction or the other. Okay. So we could continue just to bounce here in between this trend line and that resistance level until we meet the inflection point, right? and then we'll see what direction we go from there.
And if you want to flip from the the top, yeah.
From here?
Well, not there. Lower. We could do a sub fib, kind of like where price is at the daily. Yeah, right there. It's like at a 61.8. So
Top of the range down. Gotcha. That'll be interesting to see. That'll be interesting to see. Yeah. So we could push all the way down to the bottom of that zone, basically, and then we'll see then if we're able to break below that daily support level. I dig that. I dig that. Let's drop down to the 1 and see what's happening there. So on your 1, those fibs running off the high, right? Clearly see that range 8-6 retracement. So this kind of plays into what Donette is saying, that matching the extension is right here at this daily support, right? So ultimately, potentially another press to the downside, get into that 1 hour extension and back to that daily support level, which will also be right at that trend line. Oh no, let me adjust that. There we go. It'll be outside the trend line, or inside the trend line, but back to the daily support level there and hitting that 1 hour extension. So potentially more down movement, but it's just pressing sideways right now. So you need a catalyst. So you guys know I don't trade gold, but I'd be looking for more downward pressure here, and I would wait until found a support and see what happens at this level after that 1 hour D extension is achieved before I did anything. That's personally, but if there's something here that meets your rules, then by all means, but just ensure that price meets your rules. That's the biggest key here. But I just see this one moving sideways, right? So it needs a catalyst to move in one direction or the other. So nothing doing right now on this gold. Questions on this? Nope. All right. Cool deal. Let's see what else we got here. Pound Swiss. Let's see. Let's come back to the daily. Just stuck in the range. Top of the range, bottom of the range, and just moving sideways. All right. Just moving sideways. We haven't gotten to that 382 yet. It's slowly trying to make its way down, right? Seeing lower highs and lower lows until you get here. But this one is trapped right now, right? And you can clearly see that as you zoom out, right? Clearly see that as you zoom out. You know, we're bullish on the pound. Things haven't necessarily changed there. But yeah, just sideways right now. Whew, we got to push to the upside and the pullback. So let's go to the 4 and see what happened here. There's that move. So a couple things we can do. Here's our fib on the 4. We got a 382 here on that push. And then here we are really tight in this range weekly. Weekly to weekly. Let me see something. Got a daily resistance there. You can drop this level in here, right? But you see that's your that's your range there between that daily and weekly level, right? It's pretty tight, which is why I didn't have it initially, but you can drop it in there if you want. So as you move down, right, you'll see the kind of the top there, right? And then support level here, right? And here's your range here as well, because you got another support there and another support there. Okay, so that's the range on that. So coming back to the 4, there you sit, right? That's really, really tight range. It's pressing back down now, right, off the high. So we can run a fib off the high and look for a pullback, right? And we could see price continue pushing to the upside here, right? But that's, for me, that's really picking on this one because there's nothing here for me to trade, in my opinion. So coming down to the 1, if you're running fib off the low, it's going to be choppy. There you go. So if you're running fib off the low on the 1, just shy of a 618 retracement, trying to turn over and press to the upside. All right. So see if you get that flip there. But again, this is another one, right? I would just be sitting on the sidelines. You got your cloud here. So how you could trade this, if this is something that you're looking to trade beneath, right? Wait on that cloud break with a bullish twist here on the 1, right? And that could give you potential move to the upside, because you gotta just shy of a 618 retracement there. So push down into the zone, but right, overall you're in this range, so it's super choppy, right? So that's how you could play that if you're looking to make that move, right? Wait for the cloud break, wait for the Kumo twist, right? And then you might also be in for a pullback, and then something like that. And then we'll see if we're able to break above this daily and weekly resistance, because that's what would have to happen to get to that D extension there on the 1. All right. What you seeing here, Benit?
I played that retrace.
Oh, you played this move here?
Yes.
Gotcha.
So I was wondering if it's kind of trying to maybe come down to the bottom.
Oh, I lost you a little bit. Say that again.
I was thinking maybe the crash will go down to the bottom.
To the bottom of the range? Definitely
Yes.
possible. Yeah. It's possible. It's possible. If you play this move here, right, if you're still in it, I definitely start to look at how I'm managing that, potentially take some off. Because right now, so the other thing to look at is right now we're in a risk on environment, right? Yeah, this is pulling back, but we're in a risk on environment, which means less capital flows into the Swiss and the yen, right? And then overall, fundamentally, we're bullish on the pound, right? So I would start to manage that, because this could just be the retracement for price to ultimately break out of this range a bit, right? So it's something also just to think through, right? And see
All right.
with all the information where your bias lies. Make sense?
Yes, absolutely.
Cool. Carolyn, potentially, right? If that meets your rules, right? You could take that if that met your rules. Cool deal. Any other questions here on this pound Swiss? Nope. All right, cool deal. Euro dollar. Daily, right? We came down to this daily support level, broke previous, right? And now we're trying to push back to the upside a bit. We got a new level of resistance here. That level is no longer there. It's our daily resistance there. Change that to red. Boom. All right, so this is where we sit here on the DXY on the daily. The resistance level here, support level here, and we've just been pressing sideways the past 3 days. All right, so coming down to the 4. Oops. Coming down to the 4. Similar look. All right, similar look. We bounced off that daily support and then came right back down, and now we're just sliding sideways. Trying to get a little bit bullish here. We'll see. But we know with the DXY is trying to push to the downside. So we could potentially see this continue to push up if the DXY continues to push down, right? So we'll watch that and see how that goes. But overall, this is where we sit, still inside that AB boundary, 8-6 retracement. We'll see if this turns over, breaks back above this daily level or not, right? Let me see. Did I take? There we go. This one comes up. There we go. Right. So that's the smaller range that we're sitting in on the 4, coming down to your 1. Potentially have a crown here. Right. You already got to your 382 off the 80-20. Right. Price came back down. Now we'll see if we're able to break above the cloud and continue higher. Right. We'll see. We'll see. Right. Got a lot of work to do that. Cloud is still bearish. Okay. So we'll watch this to see if it goes, but already got to your 382. Could play the crown if we get a break above the cloud there. That's what I'd be waiting for on this one because we've just been so choppy here since last week. All right. So I'd be waiting for a cloud break and a Kumo twist for a potential entry on that to take that move to the upside to play the crown off this fib there. Right, that's your harmonic fib. You got a 618 retracement 3 times at the level. Now we're trying to get long. Okay, so that is the euro dollar. Waiting to see what happens here. You got that daily level that we'd also have to break through in order to make that happen. Okay, so here's that crown pattern again. See the right tip, boom. So we'll see. We'll see if we get that bullish momentum there, and if we stay risk off, and the dollar continues to retrace. All right, need a few things to come into alignment in order for that to occur. Okay, questions on the euro dollar? What you seeing here, Carolyn? Where are you looking for sell at? I'm sorry, I said 382. You got a 50% retracement with this push up here. So you could have been short there for sure off a 50% retracement in line with the daily resistance level. Where are you looking for short opportunities at? Gotcha. Let's see. Where are you running your fib from? That's the fib I got on the 15.
Okay, on the 15-minute, I put my fib on the last leg.
I'm gonna move up right here.
Yes, at the bottom.
Gotcha.
It,
Like that?
yes. So because I see that high, I was thinking it might form a swing high and then go retrace a little bit before it go back up.
Okay. I'd be patient, right, and wait on that swing high to form, wait for that new AB boundary, and then see what your options are there. Yeah. We'll see, right? You got nice bearish action there. You could potentially see that in the short term. I see what you're thinking, right? Watching this zone here. Yeah, I'd say wait and see if you get a swing high to form. Price is pushing, right? Very little retracement there. Wait for a swing high to form, wait for that AB boundary to pop in, right? Or once that swing high forms, draw that AB boundary and then look to see what your options are to see if it meets your rules. I follow you there. Potentially.
Can you put the cloud on there for a minute?
Mm-hmm. Boom. Strong break there. Strong break, lagging span above.
So quick question, because I see it broke the cloud, does it mean it's supposed to come back to test it to make sure it doesn't want to go back down and continue up?
Generally, when you see a cloud break, you will see it pull back, right? Just like in those moves, this is just a trend line break, right? So if you looked at it from a trend line perspective, Benny describes this as more of a flexible trend line, right? So how we can look at this is like this, right? Boom, through the lowest point, you got your trend line break, and now looking for a pullback and a continuation. All right. Boom. Trend line break. See if you get a pullback, potentially retest that trend line, maybe retest the cloud, something like that. And then continuation long.
So and how many pips is that for the retracement? It's like
so this is just all hypothetical. I wouldn't take it off of that.
Okay.
Because you don't have the AB boundary, right? So this is all just me imagining what it could look like. I wouldn't measure it off of this at all.
Okay.
I'd wait for that swing high to form first, and then take that off of wherever that fib forms, because this could push higher. This could continue riding to the upside, and you don't get a swing high, right? So I wouldn't jump the gun on it.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome. Any other questions here on this Euro USD?
Hi. Can you also say, like looking at the 15-minute, can you say it formed a double bottom right here and price potentially go up to where you have your zone, and then it will come back to test the neckline of this high here? Yeah, you even marked it up, like you have it right there. Price could potentially come back to test that area and then continue up. Yeah.
Potentially. Yep. That's a previous resistance, right? That we broke. Previous resistance broke. Pullback retest. Definitely potential.
Okay. Thank you.
But back to that previous conversation, I would be patient here and wait for the swing high to form. I wouldn't guess, right? You could get a break and a retest, absolutely, but I would be patient here and allow this sub fib to form before just jumping in, right? You want to make sure that all your rules are met, including the AB boundaries forming the whole nine, right? So not just jumping in to jump in, okay? Because also keep in mind, right, this is a sub fib, and the larger wave is down, okay? This is the larger move here. So this is just a smaller wave within. So yet we could see this type of action and then ultimately price turnover and continue to the downside, making its way to the D extension here, right? So also something to think about as you're playing these moves and managing your trade. It makes sense? Okay. All right. Sweet. Cool deal. So that's the Euro USD. Then we got the pound yen, the beast as they call it. Let's see. So weekly ran into this next level of weekly resistance. There's our weekly fib coming down, 8-6 retracement, and didn't take out the A just yet. Ran into this level of weekly resistance. Boom. Coming down to the daily. This is what that looks like. All right. 618 retracement here on the daily. We're trying to make our way to the D extension here at 183.343. Okay. Got a lot of levels to break through, but that's what we're trying to do. All right. So broke through this daily level. Could we get a pullback and then a continuation? We'll see, right? But overall, bullish on the pound, right? Been moving in that direction. Coming down to the 4, here's where you got your 80-20, right? And it's just bouncing around right now. Take that out. That made that move. Okay. So didn't fully get to that weekly resistance level, created a high pull back, and now we're just hovering sideways. Okay. But on your 4 here, you do have that 80-20 scenario. Okay. So the thing just to watch here is this previous level, right? That previous level of support. We could come back and retest that and then continue higher. Okay. So just watch that. And then also keeping your eye on this weekly resistance at 175.014. Okay. If we stay below that, right, then yeah, looking down. If we break below 171.151, then yes, we can head down to that next level, right? So this is the range that I keep my eyes on in this scenario, but it's an 80-20 nonetheless, right? 80-20 nonetheless created the high at that 118 level. So let's see what happens here as we're able to break out of this range that we're currently sitting in. Coming down to the 1, this is also what you have. B boundary, 236 retracement, 118 and 127 zone above that 175.014. Right. So what we could be in for is that 4-hour 80-20 to play out. Right. And we could see this turn over and at some point and make its way down to this daily support level. Okay. So it's pushing up right now. So I'd be patient here. And that's tough because you got your range here. So if you're not trading right out of that 118, 127 zone, right, I would want to see a break out of this range, right? Or maybe even a push and actually test this weekly level and a hold below it. And then I look for that high price to get short like that. Kind of a double top scenario here if we're able to break above and get to that weekly level, right? I'm not in this because I really want to see this level tested and price to stay below it in order for me to get short on it, right? So I didn't take this 80-20 scenario because I was looking for price to actually get to this level here and push into this 118, 127 zone, right? So we'll see what happens. We're still trapped in this range, so we could get another push to the upside. We'll have to wait and see. But that's what I'm looking at there. I would really love for price to push to that level and stay below it so that I can get short there, right? Because then if it breaks above, I'm looking for the D extension to get it, looking for a break and retest, price to get to that 180 level. Does that make sense? I know I talk kind of fast to that one.
Yes.
Okay. So that's what I'm looking at here. I'm sitting on my hands on this one. Okay. Any questions on that? Nope. All right. Cool. You seen anything specific there, Joy?
Just been eyeing that 4 hour. I did put a runner in. I'm in at 173.518 only because I dropped down to the 15 and it had broke the cloud. And I know it's still kind of ranging. But when I looked at the 1 hour, because my 1 hour field was kind of messed up and I ain't redo it yet, but I see some confluence with the price coming in right there at the 618. And then it was sort of waiting to see if this swing high gonna form on the 15, which will make me feel a little bit more confident. But I just put a runner in small.
I got you. I dig that. We shall see. We shall see what happens. Right? If we come back to that 618 level of this range and then make its way down, that could happen too, right? If you think about it, even just in this range that it's in, there's your 100 pips. Right? There's your 100 pips just inside that range.
Yeah, because it's an 80-20 on my sub fib on my 15. So I think that's the same area. Yeah.
Okay. You're in the sub fib off the low. You ran the sub fib there. Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I dig it. Right? You broke a cloud, bullish cloud. If you're playing the 15, yeah, I dig that. It's 2-1. I dig the thought process there, right? At least for retracement. 50 pips. Oops. I got you. Let's see what happens. Let's see if we bounce out of that range or not. Any other questions here on this pound yen? All right. Pound NZD and pound dollar. Since we're on this side, let's look at the pound dollar first. Here we go. Right, we wick the 382 here. Potentially stuck in a range here. Right, pushing back up, you know, dollar retracing, right? Same narrative. Same narrative. Daily support here. Excuse me. Daily support there. Trying to push to the upside there. But sideways, sideways, sideways. Here's our 4, where we have our 80-20 scenario. Boom. Right? But we're just hovering in this zone right now. Got a nice pullback here, but not able to break out, and we're pushing back to the upside. Right? So it's all just pressing sideways. All just pressing sideways. Okay? Could potentially pick apart a crown here in the consolidation. Right? But ultimately, that still says you need to break below that level of 123,457. Right? That's still all that tells us. So range bound, need to break below the support level in order to get bearish. Right? Or break above 126 to get bullish and get to the D extension. Right? So we're trapped here a bit. Trapped there. Coming down to your 1. There we go. There's your scenario there. 236 retracement. And we're just hovering. Okay. So not a ton. You can pick apart some things to try to play the crown on that, but that's going to depend on what this retracement looks like or this pullback here. Right? It's pushing to the upside now. Do we come back to this zone? And does that zone hold? All right. Do we push back into that zone there and get a reaction out of it? Like that. Okay. This was a strong impulsive move to the downside. So it's looking for a retracement, high price, and then potentially to get short. Because you haven't got to 382 on the 1 either, right? And we know this is our 80-20 zone on the 4. This is our 80-20 zone on the 4. So again, range bound, choppy, need a breakout in one direction or the other. That's what I'm looking at here. You can look at that also. Deep retracement, 8.6, right? Down, get you back to the support level. So that's the pound dollar. I'm not super high on this right now just because it's trapped. But, right, this is an 80-20 on the 4. So we'll see if we get a catalyst to push this back down to the downside to get us to these lower levels. That would be your TP1. The extension is 468. Not a bad risk to reward there. Yeah. So that's where you sit. Here's your 80-20 play if anybody's looking to play it. Like so. There you go. Potential 700 pips to the... Yeah, it's definitely slow going. Definitely slow going. Almost 800 pips to your 382. 750. All right. There's potential there. So, questions on the pound dollar. We'll see what direction this one goes. No. Okay. Cool deal. Let's go over now to this pound NZD, and that's where we will wrap things up. Is that the last one? Yes. Yep. All right. Pound NZD. It's an interesting scenario we have here. So I'm going to pull these out. We're going to walk back daily. Okay. This is what we look like overall. Push back to the top, almost to the top of the range there. And we got a reaction, right? Broke this previous monthly resistance, but came right back below it. Okay. Came back to retest this daily level that we broke through, right? And now we're trying to push long again. Okay. So that's where we are on the daily. Overall, it's just a range. If you run your fib off the low, whoops. If you run the fib off the low down here, boom, that's what you're looking at there. 618 retracement matching the extension at 212, which will put us all the way back at the top of this range. Okay, 212. Break, retest, potential continuation long, right? Coming down to the 4. Here's what you have on the 4. Okay. You just missed your 382 here. All right. You just missed that level. Off the B boundary push, we pushed into the 118, 127 zone, and we're trying to come back down. All right. So we know things aren't the strongest for the New Zealand dollar right now. Aren't the strongest on the New Zealand dollar right now. So, and we're bullish on the pound. So this is more bullish than bearish overall, right? We got a double bottom there just shy of that 382, and that's when we got that strong push. Okay. So it's just a matter of are we able to break back below this daily support level? That's the question here, right? Are we able to break back below that level and then continue down? If we do, we could then potentially see this 382 level hit, right? Because technically this is still an 80-20 scenario, right? So that's the 4. That's what that looks like on the 4. We'll see what my thing here is. Because I'm bullish on the pound and bearish on the New Zealand, I want to see a break below this level, right? We got this push break. If this this monthly level holds, that could also be an indication of things slowing down, and we could get a continuation lower there, right? But I really would like to see a break back below this level to then be able to get short. Coming down to the 1. Let's see. Okay. Coming down to the 1. We're just going to run the fibs all the way through so that we can see it, right? That fib got taken out to the downside. Okay. And we know price turned over and pushed back up. So we'll come to this next low, which is here, and run that fib long. So that's where we sit on the 1. That's where we sit on the 1, right? It had an 80-20 scenario there. Beautiful breakdown. Daily support. Are we able to maybe pull back and continue to the downside? We'll need some things to come out of the UK to give us that catalyst to do so. Right now we're trying to push back to the upside. We'll see what happens here. This level is going to be key. Okay. Do we stay below that level? If we do, we could see that move continuation down. If we break back above this level, though, right, we could be in for a higher move. Okay. So, and this is another one I'm sitting tight on. Just because this is opposite of my bias right now. Right? It's opposite of my bias right now. So I'm bullish on the pound. So that's where we sit. This level is going to be key, though. If we stay below this level, then I'll look for some short opportunities there. Does that make sense? Questions on this pound New Zealand?
Hey Ryan, can you put the cloud on that 1 hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sitting right at it. Starting to get a twist here.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So that weekly level comes along with that cloud too.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see what happens. See if we get a break of that cloud, or if we get a rejection out. The stop loss on that pound dollar was 469 on that 4 hour. All right. Any other questions on this pound New Zealand, or anything that we covered this morning? No. All right. Good deal. Good people. Benny, anything before we wrap it up, bro?
No, sir. Great session as always, right? Big news at 10 a.m. with the Canadian dollar.
Yes, sir. As always, good people. Be patient, be patient, be patient. Look for that 1%, right? That opportunity to take that one step forward today. All right. We'll be back at it tonight, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for the Asian session with my awesome partner, Mr. Benny Allen. Until then, have an awesome day. Peace.
Thank you.
Thank you.